We are about to embark upon a series of strange and exciting, dangerous adventures. Adventures that will lead us to all parts of the world.
Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are looking at Predator vs. Wolverine issue 3. This is a mini-series from Marvel Comics that started in 2023, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Ken Lashley on the present day story, Hayden Sherman on the Weapon X story, and Kai Zama on the Miramasa era. Colors by Juan Fernandez on the present day and Alex Guimaraes on the other two stories. Letters by VC's Cory Petit. Cover by Marco Checchetto. Assistant editor Lindsay Cohick. Edited by Sarah Brunstead. So we start off with the present day where Wolverine is trying to escape a seeming death trap, and we learn a little bit more about the setup of that as the issue progresses, like how it came to be where it's at, which is back in the wilds of Canada, where it all started. And then we jump to the Weapon X era, where we see an unconscious Wolverine being examined by the Predator who broke into the facility. Wolverine is effectively mindless at this point, so he does attack the Predator and gets responded to accordingly. And once the Predator understands that his bones are coated with adamantium, he becomes something of a prize, so he drags Wolverine out to try and carve him up. But Wolverine, being a military asset for both the Americans and the Canadians in their joint Weapon X project, the military does respond and tries to take out the spacecraft, but that doesn't really work out the way they think it's going to, and Wolverine has to find his own way out. And it's hinted at that the Predator technology they were able to salvage was used in the Weapon X program. And then we get kind of the setup for what appears to be next issue's story, where Wolverine is at his samurai training when a Predator shows up there. So the same one. It's got a grudge. This has become personal, and it appears to be going a little bit more low-tech, maybe, wearing a skull mask, which is kind of cool. Overall, I thought the story is pretty good. The art from Ken Lashley is hands down the best. I think Kai Zama's got a pretty good handle on things too. It's a little bit of a sketchier style, but it does seem to work. But the main story of the Weapon X era by Hayden Sherman's art, I really did not like that art style. It's just a little too over the top, and the proportions look a little off sometimes. And most of the time, Wolverine doesn't even have flesh on his head, which I don't know how he survives without a brain stem of any kind and how he resurrects that. But they've kind of made Wolverine unkillable in a ludicrous way these days, and I blame a lot of that on the Civil War era, because they made it so that he could basically get nuked and he would still regrow everything, and I find that very, very bizarre. So they don't really explain how he can walk around with no brain and barely any flesh, but you just kind of have to roll with it. And I think the artist probably could have done a little bit more to make it look like he had some battle damage on part of his skull, as opposed to so much of the flesh missing that it looks a little bit goofy and silly, because as it is, it looks like there's no muscle tissue holding his spine to his skull area, and it just doesn't look like his skull would stay attached. So I thought that art was kind of weak, but overall the story's pretty solid, and like I said, Lashley's art really saves it. That's amazing. And I'm not familiar offhand with Kai Zama, but the art was pretty solid on that story as well. So hopefully that'll continue to be pretty good. There's a few panels that look a little rough, but not enough that I'm like morally offended or anything like that. So a decent read. Is it worth $6? No, wait for the trade paperback. It's a fun read, absolutely. It's definitely some of the better stuff at Marvel, especially involving a mutant, but it's overpriced for what you're getting. It's not much thicker than a comic book was when they were $1.25, and now they want $6 for it. That seems a bit steep for what you're getting, especially when a lot of the art really just doesn't hold up. So I would say try and get it in trade paperback. It seems like it's going to be worth reading that way, and you'll probably get a better quality of paper and formatting that you can put on a bookshelf. Will these be worth something? It's hard to say, but so far I'm actually pretty impressed with the storyline, but this issue had pretty weak art, so the price point is just a little too high for me, and I would be more comfortable paying $3 to $4 for it. That's kind of unlikely to happen, so I would say wait for the trade. The Marco Checchetto cover's pretty cool. I liked it overall. I thought it was pretty solid, but still doesn't justify the expense. That's gonna do it for this one. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future reviews. If you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, links are in the description to various support methods, and as always, we hope to see you on the next one.